I am Ifeoma. I am also the wife of Chief Obina. And these, she placed her hands firmly on the shoulders of the teenagers, are his children too. Gasps filled the air. Some women covered their mouths with their hands. Men muttered under their breath. Children craned their necks, trying to understand what had just been said. Ngozi froze. Her breath caught in her chest. For a moment, she thought she had misheard. What? What did you say? The morning sun streamed gently through the wide windows of the Chief Obina's mansion. The house stood tall in one of the quiet estates in Enugu, its cream-colored walls shining against the early light. Birds perched on the tall palm trees in the compound, chirping as though they too admired the house and the life inside it. Inside, laughter echoed. Chief Obina, a man in his late 50s with broad shoulders and a calm but commanding presence, sat at the long dining table with his family. He wore a simple white kaftan, freshly ironed, and his glasses rested at the tip of his nose as he read the morning newspaper. His wife, Ngozi, moved about the table with grace. She was a woman in her late 40s, beautiful and elegant, with a gentle smile that often made people feel at ease. To her children, she was a mother who held the home together, and to her husband, she was the pride of his life. Their 3 children were gathered around the table. David, the eldest, was 24. He had just finished his university studies and was already helping his father at the company. He carried himself with confidence, but always with respect for his father. Clara, the second child, was 21. She was in her 3rd year at university, vibrant and outspoken, with a laugh that filled the room. And the youngest, Daniel, only 16, was still in secondary school, a quiet boy with a sharp mind and dreams of becoming a doctor. Daniel, Chief Obina said, lowering his newspaper, "You must eat well this morning. How will you face your exams on an empty stomach?" Daniel smiled faintly and looked at his plate. "I will try, Daddy. I'm not that hungry." Clara rolled her eyes dramatically. "He never eats much in the morning. Don't worry, Daddy. He will be fine." Ngozi placed a hand on Daniel's shoulder and said softly, "Eat at least half. You will need your strength." Chief Obina nodded approvingly and then turned to David. "Son, don't forget we have a meeting later today at the office. The board members will be there, and I want you to listen closely. These men have experience you can learn from." "Yes, Daddy," David replied respectfully. "I'll be ready." It was a normal morning, filled with warmth, conversations, and the easy rhythm of a family that seemed to have it all. The neighbors often envied them. Chief Obina was not only wealthy, but also respected for his generosity. He had built schools, sponsored scholarships, and donated to churches. People spoke his name with admiration. Yet, as he sat there at the table, hidden beneath the gentle smile on his face, was a truth only he carried, a truth that lived like a shadow in his heart, threatening to one day step into the light. Later that afternoon, the compound buzzed with life. Workers moved in and out, attending to chores, while friends stopped by to greet the family. Chief Obina walked around the compound with David, pointing out some minor repairs he wanted handled. "Son," he said, his voice calm but firm, "life is not just about enjoying wealth. It is about responsibility. This house, this family, and even the company, all these require sacrifice. You must always remember that." David nodded. "I understand, Daddy. I'll do my best." Ngozi watched them from the balcony, her heart swelling with pride. To her, Obina was not just her husband. He was her shield, her provider, her partner in every sense. She had built her life around him, raising their children with love and respect, trusting that their future was secure with him as the head of the home. In the evening, the family gathered again for dinner. The dining table was filled with steaming plates of jollof rice, fried chicken, and vegetables. Laughter rose again as Clara shared a funny story from school, making even Daniel laugh loudly. "Daddy, you should have seen the lecturer's face when the microphone went off in the middle of his shouting," Clara said, her eyes sparkling with amusement. Obina chuckled. "You and your stories. But remember, young lady, university is not just for laughter. You must remain focused." "Yes, Daddy," she replied quickly, though her grin showed she wasn't entirely serious. The evening was peaceful, almost perfect. The air was filled with joy. And for anyone looking from outside, the Obina family was the picture of success and happiness. But life has a way of breaking through even the strongest walls, and that night everything changed. Later, when the house had quieted down, Chief Obina retired to his bedroom. Ngozi followed him shortly after, arranging the pillows and setting out his nightwear. "You worked too much today," she said softly. "You need to rest." He smiled at her, a tired but affectionate smile. "Rest will come, my dear. There is always one more thing to do. Tomorrow will be even busier." Ngozi sat beside him on the bed, placing her hand over his. "As long as we are together, we will face everything. The children are growing well. God has been good to us." "Yes," he whispered, his eyes heavy. "God has been good." Silence filled the room as they prepared for the night. Ngozi lay beside her husband, unaware that this would be the last night she would share with him. The following morning started like any other. The sun rose gently, the compound slowly came alive, and the children prepared for their day. But when Ngozi knocked on the bedroom door to wake her husband, there was no answer. At first, she thought he was still asleep. She entered quietly, smiling faintly as she approached the bed. But her smile faded when she saw him lying unusually still, his chest not rising, his face pale. "Obina," she whispered, shaking his shoulder gently. "Wake up, it's morning." There was no response. Her voice grew sharper. "Obina, please wake up." She shook him harder now, panic rising in her chest. "No, no, no, Obina!" Her cry echoed through the house. David rushed in first, his heart pounding as he saw his mother clutching his father's lifeless body. Clara and Daniel followed, their faces pale with fear. "Daddy!" Clara screamed, tears already streaming down her cheeks. David touched his father's hand, cold to the touch. He swallowed hard, his voice trembling. He's gone." "No!" Ngozi sobbed, collapsing against her husband's body. "Not like this. God, not like this." The house that had been filled with laughter the night before was now drowned in cries of grief. The neighbors rushed in, their faces filled with shock. The news spread quickly, and within hours, the once lively compound became a place of mourning. For the Obina family, life would never be the same again. And as the widow and children wept for the man they loved, none of them knew that behind his death lay secrets waiting to be uncovered. Secrets that would shake the very foundation of the perfect family they thought they had. The days after Chief Obina's death were filled with endless sorrow. His mansion, once lively with laughter, now echoed only with the sound of wailing. Relatives, friends, church members, and neighbors trooped in daily, bringing food, drinks, and words of comfort. The compound was never empty. Tents were mounted, chairs arranged, and large canopies covered the yard to shield people from the burning sun. Every morning and evening, women gathered to sing hymns, their voices rising like a cloud of sorrow into the sky. Ngozi, his widow, hardly left her room. Her eyes were swollen from days of crying. She sat most times surrounded by her sisters and close friends who tried to console her. "Take heart, Ngozi," her elder sister Margaret would say softly. "You must be strong for the children." But Ngozi would only shake her head and whisper, "How can I be strong when my husband left me so suddenly? We had plans, Margaret. We had dreams." Her 3 children were also struggling in their own ways. David had taken the role of standing by his mother, answering visitors, and coordinating with the elders. Clara, though still weeping, busied herself with helping the women in the kitchen and serving guests. Daniel, the youngest, was often quiet, sitting alone in a corner, his eyes distant, as though he still hoped his father would walk back through the door. The day of the burial finally came. The air in the compound was heavy with the smell of freshly cooked rice, fried meat, and palm wine. But behind the food and drinks was a weight of grief. Men dressed in white shirts and black trousers stood around, some carrying canes as symbols of tradition. Women wrapped in matching lace cloths sang dirges, their voices mournful. The church choir was also present, their robes bright but their songs heavy. The coffin of Chief Obina lay in the center of the compound, polished and grand, as though to reflect the life he had lived. A large picture of him rested against the coffin, showing him smiling in one of his fine suits. Ngozi sat close to the coffin, dressed in deep black, her face covered with a veil. Her children sat beside her. Around them, sympathizers filled the compound, some crying, some whispering, others staring in silence. The ceremony began. The pastor raised his voice in prayer, speaking about the brevity of life and the need to live righteously. Relatives were called to speak, one after the other, praising Chief Obina's life, his generosity, his achievements, and his family. David stood and spoke on behalf of the children. His voice shook, but he held back his tears. "My father was more than a father to me," he said slowly. "He was my mentor, my guide, and my friend. He taught me that life is about responsibility and giving back. We will miss him every day, but we will honor him with our lives. Rest in peace, Daddy." Claps followed his speech, though many people wept openly. Next, the choir sang, their voices rising in sorrowful harmony. The compound swayed with grief. It was at that very moment, just when the service seemed to be reaching its peak, that a stir began at the entrance of the compound. Heads turned. A murmur ran through the crowd. People stood on their toes to see what was happening. A woman walked in boldly, flanked by two teenagers, a boy and a girl. She wore a plain black gown, her hair tied in a neat scarf. Her face was firm, her steps steady, as though she had rehearsed this moment for years. The boy, tall and about 18, looked strikingly like the late chief, while the girl, a little younger, had the same sharp eyes. The compound grew silent, except for the faint rustling of chairs. Ngozi lifted her head slowly, confused by the sudden attention. The strange woman walked forward, her voice clear and loud. "I am Ifeoma. I am also the wife of Chief Obina. And these," she placed her hands firmly on the shoulders of the teenagers, "are his children too." Gasps filled the air. Some women covered their mouths with their hands. Men muttered under their breath. Children craned their necks, trying to understand what had just been said. Ngozi froze. Her breath caught in her chest. For a moment, she thought she had misheard. "What? What did you say?" she asked in a trembling voice, rising to her feet. Ifeoma repeated calmly, her eyes locked on Ngozi's. "I was his wife too. He was their father. He lived with you, yes, but he also lived with us. And today, as he is laid to rest, the truth must be known." The compound erupted. People began whispering in loud tones. "Jesus! Chief had another wife. Hey, this is unbelievable. Look at the children. They even resemble him." Ngozi's legs weakened. Clara quickly held her arm. "Mommy, don't listen to her. She's lying." But David, though shocked, stared closely at the boy standing beside Ifeoma. His heart thudded. The resemblance was undeniable. Daniel buried his face in his hands, whispering, "No, no, Daddy, why?" The pastor tried to calm the crowd. "Please, let us not disrupt this holy ceremony. Madame, whatever you have to say should be discussed later, not here." But Ifeoma shook her head. "No, the time is now. For too long, we lived in the shadows while you all enjoyed the light. My children have his blood, his name. They deserve to be acknowledged." Ngozi's voice rose, sharp with pain. "How dare you? How dare you come here on the day of his burial to insult his memory and shame my family? Ifeoma's eyes glistened, but her voice was steady. I dare because I lived this life too. While you called him husband, so did I. While your children called him father, so did mine. You may hate me, but you cannot erase us. The mourners were divided. Some shook their heads in disbelief. Others whispered about Chief Obina's charm, his wealth, his constant travels. An elderly uncle, Mr. James, stepped forward angrily. Woman, leave this place before you cause more disgrace. Do you think we will allow you to spoil the name of our brother like this? But Ifeoma stood her ground. You cannot chase me away from my husband's burial. If you do, it means you are denying his children. Look at them. Can you not see his face in theirs? All eyes turned again to the teenagers. The boy lifted his chin, refusing to cower. The girl clutched her mother's hand, tears brimming in her eyes. Ngozi's heart shattered. She wanted to scream, to throw them out, to erase what she was seeing. But deep inside, fear gnawed at her. The resemblance was too clear. Her husband, the man she had trusted with all her heart, might have indeed lived a double life. Clara shouted through her tears. She's lying. Daddy loved only us. He would never do this. But her voice shook, betraying the doubt rising within her. The burial ground, once filled with united grief, was now heavy with confusion, shame, and anger. The perfect image of Chief Obina was cracking before everyone's eyes. The pastor struggled to bring order, raising his Bible high. Let us not turn this burial into a war. Let peace reign, for God sees all things. But peace was far from the Obina family that day. As the coffin was lowered into the ground, two women stood on opposite sides, Ngozi and Ifeoma, both claiming the same man, both staring at each other with eyes full of pain and defiance. The crowd whispered endlessly, the shame spreading like wildfire. Chief Obina was gone, but the secrets he left behind had only just begun to surface. The morning after the burial, the Obina compound was still filled with mourners. Some people lingered to console the family, others stayed behind to eat, and a few only came to gossip about what had happened the day before. The shock of Ifeoma's sudden appearance was still fresh in everyone's mind. Neighbors whispered in corners, their voices low but sharp. So Chief had another wife? One woman muttered. I still cannot believe it, another replied. But did you see those children? They are his carbon copy. This world is wicked. So, Ngozi was here enjoying while another woman was suffering in secret? Or maybe Ngozi knew and pretended not to. These rich people, you never know. The once respected name of Chief Obina was now on everyone's lips, not for his wealth or good works, but for the scandal that had erupted during his burial. Inside the house, Ngozi sat quietly in the living room, her head bent, her eyes swollen. David sat beside her, his jaw clenched in anger. Clara paced the room like a restless lion, while Daniel sat silently in a corner, his young mind trying to make sense of what had happened. The sound of footsteps broke the silence. Ifeoma walked in, holding a large brown envelope. Behind her were the two teenagers, their faces filled with defiance and pain. David stood instantly. What are you doing here again? His voice was sharp. I came to finish what I started, Ifeoma replied calmly. I will not allow anyone to call me a liar. Clara flared up. You are a liar. You came here to disgrace us, to destroy our father's name. Ifeoma raised her chin. I came here to show the truth. She placed the envelope on the center table and opened it slowly. Ngozi's trembling voice broke the silence. What more do you want from me? You have already turned my husband's burial into shame. Leave us alone. But Ifeoma shook her head. This is not about you, Ngozi. This is about my children. They will not be denied their father. She pulled out a stack of photographs. One by one, she dropped them on the table. The room fell into stunned silence. The first picture showed Chief Obina in casual clothes, sitting on a sofa with Ifeoma and the children. His arm rested around Ifeoma's shoulder, a wide smile on his face. Another photo showed him carrying the little girl, years younger then, on his lap while the boy played beside him. More photos followed. Chief Obina at a birthday party with balloons in the background, at a school event, clapping proudly, at a small house in a nearby town, smiling as though he belonged there. Clara gasped, covering her mouth. Daniel whispered, "That's Daddy. That's really him." David picked up one photo, his hand trembling. His father's face stared back at him, looking relaxed and happy, in a place none of them had ever known. Ifeoma's voice was steady. "These were not stolen. These were moments from our life with him, a life you never knew existed." Ngozi shook her head violently. No, this cannot be true. Obina would never. He loved me. He loved his children." Tears streamed down her face, but Ifeoma was not finished. She pulled out letters, handwritten notes addressed to her. David read one aloud, his voice breaking. "My dearest Ifeoma, I miss you and the children so much. These trips are long, but I promise I will come to you soon. Tell the kids I love them. Yours forever, Obina." The room spun for Ngozi. Her chest rose and fell quickly, as if she could not breathe. "No, this cannot be true. He never wrote such things." Ifeoma calmly placed more documents on the table. Copies of property papers, a small piece of land registered in her name, another house deed with her children listed as beneficiaries. The elders of the family, who had gathered after hearing the commotion, now stood in silence. Some nodded slowly, accepting what they saw. Others shook their heads, refusing to believe. Uncle James, who had defended Obina's name at the burial, was the first to speak. "So, all those sudden trips, all those nights he said he was in Lagos for business." He trailed off, his face hardening. Another cousin, Peter, added, "I always wondered why he avoided bringing us to some of his projects. Now it makes sense. He had another home." Ngozi cried out bitterly. "You all are quick to believe this. How can you stand there and drag his name in the mud? He was my husband. He was your brother, your uncle, your friend. Will you let this woman destroy his memory?" But the damage was done. The truth was too heavy to deny. Clara broke down in tears. "Mummy, why would Daddy do this to us? Were we not enough for him?" Daniel whispered through his sobs. "He lied to us all this time." David clenched his fists, anger burning in his chest. "If all this is true," he said, his voice low but dangerous, "then my father betrayed us all. He betrayed you, Mummy. He betrayed us, his children." The room went quiet. Ngozi looked at her eldest son in shock. "David, don't say that. He was still your father." David's eyes filled with tears. "Yes, he was. But fathers are meant to protect, to guide, to be honest, not to live two lives and leave us in shame." Ifeoma's children finally spoke. The boy, his voice shaking, said, "We didn't choose this life. We didn't ask for it. But he was our father too. We loved him too. And now everyone wants to pretend we don't exist." His sister added softly, "We just want to be recognized. We are not here to fight. We are here because he was our daddy too." The elders murmured among themselves. Some were sympathetic. Some were furious. Margaret, Ngozi's sister, turned on Ifeoma angrily. "Even if all this is true, why now? Why come here with your proof after he is gone? Why not speak when he was alive?" Ifeoma's eyes filled with unshed tears. "Do you think I didn't try? He made promises. He said one day he would bring us all together, but that day never came. Now he is gone and silence will bury us forever if I don't speak." The pastor, who had returned to the house to pray for the family, raised his hands. "Let us not forget God in all this. Chief is gone, but his secrets are in the open. What matters now is forgiveness, healing, and truth." But forgiveness was far away from the Obina family. The compound was divided. Relatives argued openly, some insisting Ifeoma was telling the truth, others defending Ngozi's honor. Outside, the community buzzed with gossip. Men recalled times Chief Obina had traveled suddenly, times he had declined to attend events, times he had given strange excuses. So those trips to Abuja were not business after all, one man muttered. Ha! And I thought he was only busy with his company, another said. Wise man, they called him. But now, was it wisdom or deceit? The once united community was now torn apart, unable to decide whether to still praise the late chief or condemn him. Inside, Ngozi sat like a broken woman, her heart ripped apart. Every photograph, every letter, every document was a knife cutting deeper. She had loved him with all her heart, defended him, trusted him. Now she felt like a fool. Her children sat beside her, each lost in their own storm of pain. Their perfect picture of their father had shattered into pieces. And as Ifeoma quietly gathered her documents back into the envelope, she said one final thing. I did not come here to destroy him. I came here to show that my children too are part of his blood. You may hate me, but the truth cannot be buried. Then she turned and walked out with her children, leaving the Obina family drowning in grief, betrayal, and shame. The compound was silent for a long time, the only sound the faint cry of Ngozi as she whispered, Obina, why? The truth was out, and nothing would ever be the same again. The dust from Chief Obina's burial had barely settled when the real storm began. The family elders called for a meeting in the large sitting room of the Obina mansion. Chairs were arranged in rows, the air heavy with tension. The smell of palm wine and cola nuts lingered on the center table as a sign of tradition, but no one touched them. Everyone knew this was not a gathering of peace. Ngozi sat with her 3 children on one side. She wore a black wrapper, her face still swollen from days of weeping. Her children sat close to her. David, stiff with anger, Clara restless with nerves, and Daniel pale with quiet fear. On the opposite side sat Ifeoma, her children beside her. She wore no makeup, only a simple black gown. Her boy, tall and bold, looked like he was ready to defend his mother at any cost. The girl leaned against her, her eyes darting nervously across the room. Uncle James cleared his throat, his deep voice filling the silence. We are here today because we cannot pretend any longer. Chief Obina, our brother, lived a life we did not fully know. Now he is gone, and 2 families stand before us. We must decide how to handle this matter, his name, his wealth, his properties, and the future of his children. Murmurs spread across the room. Some nodded in agreement, others shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Ngozi was the first to speak. Her voice trembled but carried firm authority. I will not sit here and let strangers claim what belongs to me and my children. I was the only wife recognized by law, the one who stood by Obina through thick and thin. We built this empire together. My children are his true heirs. Ifeoma raised her chin. Do not call us strangers, Ngozi. My children carry his blood as much as yours do. Did you not see the documents? Did you not see the photos? He gave us land. He gave us a house. He provided for us in secret, even if he could not show us to the world. Clara jumped up, anger flashing in her eyes. You call this provision? You ruined our father's burial. You shamed us in front of the whole town. And now you sit here demanding a share? You are nothing but a liar. Ifeoma's son stood too, his voice sharp. Watch your mouth. My mother is not a liar. It is your father who lied. To all of us. You think you are the only ones who lost? We lost too. We lost a father we could never claim openly. The room erupted in noise. Aunties shouted at each other. Uncles tried to calm the young ones. And voices clashed like thunder. Uncle James banged the table. Silence! His voice cut through the noise. We will not turn this meeting into a marketplace. We must face the truth. Chief had 2 families. Both cannot be denied. Ngozi's sister, Margaret, shook her head furiously. What nonsense! My sister suffered with Obina from the very beginning. Where was this woman when we were eating beans and gari before the money came? She appears now because the man is gone, and she wants to eat from where she did not sow. Ifeoma's eyes burned with tears, but her voice was steady. I was there too. Maybe not in this house, maybe not in the open, but I was there. He loved me. He loved these children. You cannot erase us from his story." Ngozi slammed her hand on her lap. Loved you? If he truly loved you, why did he hide you? Why did he never bring you to the family? Why did he never mention you once in all our years together? Ifeoma's voice broke. Because he was afraid of what people like you would say, afraid of the shame, afraid of losing the respect of the community. But in his heart, he knew where else he belonged. And I will not let fear bury the truth anymore. The elders exchanged troubled looks. David spoke for the first time, his tone heavy with bitterness. "Whatever my father did in secret, it is not our fault. We will not allow our lives to be ruined because of his weakness. My mother is his wife under the law. We are his children by right. Ifeoma, if you want anything, take it to court. But do not expect us to welcome you into our home." Ifeoma's boy shot back. "We are not begging to enter your home. We already have ours, but we will not be denied what belongs to us." The argument stretched for hours. Some relatives supported Ngozi, insisting that tradition recognized only the marriage everyone knew. Others supported Ifeoma, saying blood was blood and children could not be denied their father's name. An elderly cousin, Madame Beatrice, finally spoke. "This is what happens when a man tries to eat with two mouths. He leaves confusion behind. But we must be wise. The children are innocent. We cannot punish them for their father's sins." Her words made the room go quiet for a moment. But then accusations began again. "You only want to share his wealth. You are greedy. You are shameless. You are heartless." Ngozi broke down in tears. "Obina, see what you have done to me. After all these years, after everything, you left me with disgrace. How do I face the world now?" Her daughter Clara held her tightly, crying too. "Mommy, don't cry. We are enough. We don't need them." But Daniel whispered softly, almost to himself, "Why did Daddy do this to us? Did he not love us enough?" The question hung in the air, piercing deeper than any insult. The children, both sides, were now questioning their father's love. To one side, he had betrayed trust. To the other side, he had denied recognition. Either way, he had left them broken. The elders decided to adjourn the meeting. "We cannot settle this in one day," Uncle James said tiredly. "The lawyers will handle the will. Until then, everyone must remain calm. No more fights, no more insults." But calm was far away. As the two families left the room, their eyes locked in anger and resentment. The tension was thick enough to choke. Outside, the community watched with curiosity, whispering as the women passed. Chief Obina, once admired as a man of wisdom and respect, was now remembered as a man of secrets and deceit. His wealth, his properties, his legacy, all were at risk of being torn apart by the very people he had left behind. The clash had only just begun. The days after the stormy family clash were heavy and silent in the Obina household. The compound that had once been filled with laughter, visitors, and proud celebrations now felt like a battlefield where no one truly won. Ngozi sat on the veranda most evenings, staring at the mango tree in the corner of the yard. She was tired of crying, tired of shouting, tired of fighting. Her heart was wounded, yet another feeling kept pressing itself inside her. Fear. Fear of what the future held for her children. Inside her room, Ifeoma also struggled. She had returned to her small house on the other side of town, but her mind was restless. Her children asked questions she could not answer. Will Auntie Ngozi chase us away? Will they accept us? Will we ever see our father's things? She held them close, hiding her own tears. 1 week after the last meeting, the elders called again. This time, it was under the shade of the old Iroko tree at the village square. They wanted neutral ground, away from the walls that carried too much anger. The families arrived, 2 different groups, walking separately but bound by one man's name. The crowd of villagers gathered at a distance, curious but respectful. Everyone wanted to see if peace could be found. Uncle James, the eldest of the family, stood slowly. His walking stick tapped the ground as he moved to the center. His gray beard shook slightly as he spoke, his voice calm but strong. "My people," he began, "we have fought, we have shouted, we have poured our anger like fire. But Obina is gone. Nothing we do will bring him back. What remains are these children, his blood, his seed. If we continue to fight, it is they who will suffer. Is that the kind of legacy Obina should leave behind?" The place was silent. Even the birds seemed to pause. Ngozi's eyes filled with tears again. She wiped them quickly, but could not hide the pain in her voice. "How do I forgive Uncle? How do I share space with someone who destroyed my marriage without my knowledge? Every day I wake up, I feel like a fool. I gave my life to him, and this is how he repaid me." Her son David placed a hand on her shoulder. "Mummy, please," he whispered, but his own face was hard with anger. Ifeoma lowered her head. Her voice trembled, but she spoke. "Do you think it was easy for me, hiding like a thief, watching my children grow without their father's open pride? I lived in silence, carrying shame alone. I did not destroy your marriage, Ngozi. He came to me. He made his choice. I only wanted love, but I got half of it." Ngozi's daughter Clara stood up suddenly. Her eyes burned with grief. "Half of it? You took our father's love from us. You made us live with lies. Do you know what it feels like to see people whispering at school, saying our father had another family? You ruined everything." Ifeoma's son also stood. "And do you know what it feels like to hide your own father? To hear him call someone else his only family? To be told to stay quiet so he would not be disgraced? Both of us were cheated. Both of us lost." The words struck deep. For the first time, the two sides saw not just enemies but wounded hearts. Elder Beatrice, the cousin who always spoke wisely, lifted her hands. "Enough, children. Enough tears. Look at yourselves. Obina is gone, but his mistakes are cutting you like knives. Do not let his weakness destroy your future. He loved you in different ways, but he loved you. Can we not, for once, choose peace?" There was murmuring, some nodding, some shaking of heads. Uncle James continued, "Let us speak plainly. The law will handle the properties. The lawyers will share as written in the will. But no law will give you peace if you continue hating each other. Only your hearts can decide. Ngozi, Ifeoma, will you let your bitterness eat these children, or will you carry this cross together?" Ngozi kept silent for a long time. Her fingers twisted the edge of her wrapper, her eyes fixed on the ground. Then she whispered, "I don't know if I can forgive, but I don't want my children to grow with hatred. Maybe we can try. Not for me, but for them." Ifeoma's lips quivered. She nodded slowly. "I cannot erase the pain, but I will not deny your children. They are my children's blood too. If we keep fighting, they will never heal. For their sake, I will try." There was a long pause. Then Uncle James clapped his hands together, his face brightening. "Good, that is the beginning. Peace does not come in one day, but today you have opened the door." The children sat quietly, trying to understand. David still looked stern, but his eyes softened when he saw Ifeoma's boy staring at him with the same mixture of anger and sadness. Clara avoided looking at her half-sister, but Daniel, the youngest, stretched a hand timidly towards the girl beside Ifeoma. "Maybe we can be friends," he said softly. The girl blinked in surprise. Then she smiled faintly, her small hand meeting his. That simple touch broke a wall no elder could break. Ngozi wiped her tears and looked at Ifeoma. For the first time, she did not see a thief or an enemy. She saw another woman, broken, just like her. Later that evening, both families sat together for the first time to share food. It was awkward at first. Long silences, stiff faces, forced small talk. But slowly, as plates passed and spoons clinked, the children began to laugh at small jokes. The mothers did not laugh, but they listened. As the moon rose, Uncle James stood again. Let this be the beginning of healing. Chief Obina's secret life gave us pain, but let it also give us wisdom. Let us not repeat his mistakes. Let us build a future where truth stands, where children know they are loved, and where women are not left in the shadows. Everyone nodded, some still with pain, some with hope, but all with understanding. The night ended without shouting, without insults, only heavy hearts learning to carry a new reality. Chief Obina's secret had left scars that might never fade, but it also forced his two families to stand face to face. They could not erase each other, they could not change the past, but they could choose how to live the future. And in that choice, painful as it was, lay the only chance for peace. The story teaches that secrets and betrayal can tear families apart, leaving deep scars that may never fully heal. But peace is always better than endless fighting. Though forgiveness is hard, choosing to let go of bitterness helps protect the children from carrying pain they did not create. In the end, unity, honesty, and acceptance of the truth are the only ways broken families can build a future, no matter how difficult the past has been. Thank you so much for watching. Your love and support mean everything to me. If this story inspired you, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your loved ones to spread the inspiration. I'd also love to hear your thoughts. Feel free to share them in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more interesting African stories. See you in the next video. Bye.